We want to talk to the sage of Southern California, Dennis Miller, who joins us from Santa Barbara. So before we get to that, let's discuss yesterday's vote. What did you take away from it?
Billy, I'm trying to look interesting like Jorge Ramos.
I like Jorge. He's a good guy.
Yeah, he's the greatest guy who ever lived.
Thank you.
I'm not being anti-Latino there. I'm being anti-affected. What human being in the middle of their day, when you come upon him, is like this? All right, listen.
Brutal.
As far as yesterday's election, kids, I want to say this to the kids out there. I know you're voting for Hillary. What in the hell happened to kids? When I was a kid, if I'd looked at this, I would have said, "What are you kidding me?" And I see kids behind her. They're like at the sawhorse outside the plaza when the Beatles were hanging out the window. They're so excited about Hillary. What in God's name happened to you? To me, Hillary sounds like Karen's mom in Goodfellas when Henry came home at sunrise. What sort of people are they? That's what she sounds like. What are kids doing? And now Sanders voters are showing up at Trump things and flipping it over. You know, Sanders people say, "Oh, no, that's not us." They want to share everything but the blame. But now that Bernie's out, and I know he's still in, but let's face it, he's out, because he couldn't decide. That's the thing about socialist revolutionaries. You never know whether they're going to throw the fist up or the hand out. Bernie got trapped in that mid-zone there. As far as them going over to Trump's thing now, I know everybody's telling me that the Trump rallies are so violent now. I guess. Are they talking about the 78-year-old guy who clocked the kid who was giving him the finger up there in the Bob Uecker seats? I guess it's the end of the world as we know it. You know, I didn't like it, but then again, I didn't like that knockout game that people were playing a couple years ago. Remember when they were going up to homeless people and old people and suckering them in the face? Now, if you said to me, what's more egregious, this guy here or the knockout game? I'm just telling you the truth. I know I'm going to get condemned for this. I found the knockout game more pre-apocalyptic because people were just minding their own business and people would come up and sucker them in the face. I can tell you throughout history, if you're walking through a thing and you're giving the finger to people who are there participating in something, guess what? I grew up in Pittsburgh. There's a chance you're going to get
There's
clocked.
a chance. Levittown was a chance. And, but we're not justifying it. And a presidential.
How far out of my way did I go to say that?
That's right.
Of course
we're politically correct here. We're not
think...
justifying any violence ever, under any circumstances, unless I do it.
But do I think that that's like Hitler? Do I think that that old man clocking that kid who was giving him the finger leads to the systematic liquidation of 6 million of his fellow human beings? No, I don't. You know what? I'm not going to call people Hitler-like unless they're Hitler. I remember when FDR, what was it, Bill? 2 months, you're a historian, like, you know, I like to read. You know more about it than me. But 2 months after Pearl Harbor, FDR, who's the Yoda of the left, signed Bill 9066. He rounded up 120,000 Japanese people.
Put them in the camps.
60% of them were American citizens. He put them in internment camps. Now, I'm not even going to call that Hitler-like, but certainly this is not Hitler-like to me.
Dennis Miller, everybody. A couple of footnotes. Miller and I enjoyed the big Who Wants to Be President show in L.A. on Saturday. More than 6,000 people in the hall. We'll see everybody in Fairfax, Virginia, May 7th. That'll be a blast. Very special Father's Day show at Mohegan Sun in Connecticut, Saturday, June 18th. Evening show is sold out, but we want all the dads and granddads to have a great time, so we'll be there at 3 p.m. Also, upcoming shows in London, England, Reno, Nevada, Denver, Colorado, Atlanta, Georgia, Biloxi, Mississippi. Tickets going fast. Details on BillO'Reilly.com. We'll link you right over to the box offices.